Bonjourne, bonjourne, hola, ¿cómo estás? What else? Konnichiwa, tomo arigato, ni hao, gracias. Um, Welcome, heirs of our Father's promise. Welcome to another video. And of course, you already know why we're here today. We're not here for anything else but the gratification of edifying our spirit, our mind, our hearts, our vessel, right? For we are what? The vehicle of our Father's what? Creation. Remember the temple. Our Elohim, he did not say that he would inhabit a temple made by the hands of man. So what is a real temple that for him, that's made for him to inhabit? If it's not used through what? Our faith, our loyalty, our trust, our love. See, today's topic is going to be based off of those, ideals, love, loyalty, trust, because they're very punctuant and profound and rooted structures of living in general. Especially not just for yourself, but when you're living with other people in life, not necessarily a house, but when you share the same earth, the same air, the same water, the same sun, light, right, with other people, we have to understand that being loyal to not only our creator but being loyal in general is a very big step on becoming a better person from the sense of your spirit, your heart, and your mind. See, there are a lot of people that don't, what's the word, they don't they don't forgive other people, and if they do, it's usually a lot of animosity that still is hindered and that they gather up for years and for years to come. So we have to break that cycle, right? But we also have to understand that the enemies, our enemies, these entities, influences, typically I would say spirit, but we already know what the word spirit is, interpreted as influence, right? These influences create delusions. But before they create the delusion, they're going to first what? They're going to create division. Because in somewhat of a division, when they have access to your emotions, they get powered up like rangers. They get powered up like rangers. And what happens next? You open the door. Now there's an access that you don't have control over, but you do though, at least because a lot of people don't think so. But it's just a very hard battle. It's a very hard battle, a very hard fight that you have to be strong for. This type of battle is not for the weak. It 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 really is not for the weak. It's for those type of people where like you will have arrows shot at your back and you're gonna have to keep climbing up those mountains. And not from the area where you can walk, but like you're gonna have to rock. I think it's rock climb or however you say it. Like bare hands, feet all over, just all of all of them. Like for real, this is not for the weak because you're gonna be sent distractions left and right. That's gonna come to try to tempt you to make you fold to let you just go back into the carnal understanding of knowledge. When we already know on this channel that the things that we talk about, we don't play about truth. We don't. Because a lot of people that read the word know that all of these apostles, saints, their words are testimonies. Doesn't make them the Holy Scripture, the original. But yes, it can be used as a supplement to help us. That's why the world is lost because they don't even know that. Like the simple things that we should know. We don't know because why? They haven't been taught to us. And if it was taught to us, it wasn't taught in this generation, not in this era. Maybe in our grandparents' eras, maybe then, yeah, the truth was still a little bit known because some people they kept family hidden, knowledge about things that are necessary. So if you got still grandparents out here in this world right now, ask them about anything that they have that can help you and your family right now when it comes to Christ. Ask them, talk to them because this world is not going in the right direction. There's not a lot of people that are humble, and there are people that are humble, but they're really faking it. They really are. They're faking it. And they're faking it because they want people to assimilate to their narratives. We don't like, when conviction is not something that you force on people. You shouldn't hear somebody's words and feel convicted. It's Christ. That is the motion and the movement of Christ. Your words, like I said in the previous video, right, it's a testimony, it's an example. That's why we live by our example, Christ. We show people that example. Why? Because it's important that Yahushua, right? Yahusha, in him, Yahuwah, our Elohim, our Adonai, right, came in this world to what? To present what? The concept of our Father's expectations. He committed to his role. He became the example, the living sacrifice. It was the example of us because he had to come here so we can understand how to be like him. It's not a joke out here, people, because we have to understand there are conditions to this world. That's why the enemies and them knowing that while using these concepts of altering this reality as it is in so many ways by using alchemy on different level and stagnant level through people. It's not a joke. They know about that's what they're called, the old. Those are the old. It doesn't just go to the reference of the Nephilims. No, it goes to the ones of the old. Having that type of knowledge. They literally want bodies. They want bodies. That's what they want. They want bodies. Because how else are they going to enjoy exactly what they're giving to people? That's why they play with them. They don't need it, but they want it because they haven't lost their desires of lust, destruction. When you no longer have the access to real life, what do you think is going to come? Death. That's all you're going to be thinking about. That's all. I've literally 3 days ago, I was getting an impulse of words, right, that was trying to basically make me feel like I'm crazy, right? Mind you, I already know like it doesn't work like that. First off, my brain doesn't do that. My thoughts doesn't do that. And I even give an example. Let me give you guys this thing where you have an impulse, right? And imagine you have a sheet of paper, right? Where in that sheet of paper or napkin, right, you are like a quarter in the center of the napkin. And when you hear a voice, you imagine, you know how when you knock at the wall, you hear that it's hollow or it's hardened. When you hear a voice, when it doesn't feel like it's close to you, but it's in your mind still, understand that it's not Christ, it's not our creator. Because the influence of our creator is within us, not something that is exterior, is within us. So when you accept Christ, it's within you, it's within your spirit, it's within your body, it's within your heart, your mind. So it's going to be a part of you who is in the center, literally, not on the edge. And know that the reason I say the edge when I use the napkin is because the napkin is fragile, but the foundation is not. So if your foundation is solid, they can do is roam around the napkin and try to frickle themselves and trying to see if you can doubt, trying to wait and hoard the moments for you to fall just so they can have access to cause you some type of problem for you to to just open a door for them to manipulate you. Remember, when a demon is cast out, it will bring more demons and devils, right? To come to do what? Torment and torture you and inflict you. So if it doesn't work when they bring more people, they're going to try to bring more people. And if that don't work, they're going to try to be patient. They're going to try to observe you. They're going to try to take notes and do all of these things. They're going to send people online, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in every way. And that's the funny thing is because sometimes you have to like, I do this thing where I say, Father, humor me a bit. So sometimes I speak and then I don't even let them know like, hey, I know what's going on. Because when you have the spirit of contradiction, that's a snake like, type of mindset. That's deceit. That's lies. So they're not too far off. And if they are separate entities, right, or influences, they're brothers and sisters. Either they're close to your star or they're close to you. It doesn't matter what it is. Because a lot of us, we have a star. We have a star under our name. So it doesn't matter what they do. Be steadfast to the foundation of your knowledge. If you got to play around, sometimes play around with yourself. Don't give them the power. Sometimes don't even mind it because at the end of the day, a lot of times we yell at our creator and then we don't even realize that, hey, look, is it really helping anything? Or are you just pretending? Because sometimes people will use energy. You have a lot of people that are warlocks that will send demons to you so that they can try to fix you. Wizards, sorcerers, shamans, doctors, philosophers, or however you say, all of this, all of them, one and the same, not too far off. These people literally took oaths, walking around trees, blindfolded. I don't play about the truth here. I don't. But we're gonna get into the word, right? Because like I told you, whenever we're here, we always get into the word. And I like using the testimonies because it's something close to what is actually, relevant to the actual truth. But why do you think that the Roman Empire, the Pope, right? Herod, decided to hold on these type of information? Well, it's because it's very easy. First, the same way that they lied to you about the skin and the color and the ethics as far as color of Christ, right? They're going to lie to you about how you should believe, how you should pray. They're going to lie to you about how you should live. Only because what? The Pharisees, they manipulate the business within the church, the same way with the chief priests and the scribes and the elders. Literally, pay me 10%. You got to pay me to have this one-on-one talk. You're a pastor. You're an evangelist. Yeah, I understand you might need some money, but what if that conversation, if you really work with Christ, right? The Holy Spirit just tell you, oh, that person right there might end up being a millionaire, and you just miss out on the opportunity because they paid their last whatever, and then it didn't even help them. What then? Now you're a phony, and then you made yourself not look like a phony, just and then blame them for their actions. Or let's just give you guys another example. A lot of the people that are guilt tripping other people, either that are Christians or at least that are in the spirituality of Christianity, in the sense of the name, right? And not the religion alone, but they're forcing people also that are not believers So now the people that could have been believers, well, that path went down the rabbit hole or it went down the trash. It wasn't no even it wasn't even no longer relevant because how can it be relevant when somebody is in fear rather than they having a desire? There's a difference. We desire the truth. So you're gonna put somebody in fear before you give them the desire to even want to know. What type of teachings are you giving to them? And our Father tells us that we should not be walking with the spirit of fear. What are you teaching them? That's not a compromise, that's a contradiction. Like I said, I see a lot in this world, and I see a lot on TikTok. So when we watch all of this, conspiracies and all of this stuff, I don't partake in those things. If I watch it, it might be amusing because sometimes who knows what I know, right? So I keep that knowledge to myself unless it's actually necessary for me to speak about. I do not mind making myself look dumb. I really don't. I prefer knowing than to continue not knowing. Because at least if I know, I can make better decisions. It's better me knowing than to not know. But then you have a lot of people that hide information and they try to play around. Whoa, 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 this. No, if you're gonna tell people the truth, tell people the truth. Don't be out here woo wee daisy, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's lukewarm. You're either a Christian or you're not. You're either a believer or you're not. It's not about Catholic is better than Baptist, and any other, denominations of Christianity. It's not about that because now we're dividing ourselves amongst ourselves. Like, what are you doing? We're supposed to worship the same creator. And here we're looking at each other very stupidly rather than sharing information towards each other and actually seeing that, okay, we believe in the same creator. Why not put together the same information so that instead of us going against each other, we have exactly the same things that we're looking at, and then we can actually move forward from there and further dig in the roots of what is real and what is not. Why are we not doing that? Why are we not doing that? Let's get into the word real quick. Please grab your Bible and bow, your biblioteca if you would like. We're gonna be in Saint Mark, okay? And the Chronicle of Saint Mark, chapter 24. And of course, we're gonna start off with contradiction before we go to the operation of inspiration bars. All right. Now, oh, forgive me, please. Now, where is it at? Dun, 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 dun. We're going to start with verses 1 through 2, okay? And the subject for this is luxurious present will crumble. And we're going to start off, right? And it says, Christ departed from the temple, and his disciples followed as they showed him around the building. Looking around, Christ said, I know you all see this. Then further stated, none of the foundations of this building would exist later. Why do you think he said that? Everything that looks gold and golden is not going to be eternal. The same way your body is not going to be eternal. Unless you make even with that, it says no none can keep their own soul. So are you going to make a contract to stay on this earth forever where you can then possess people's bodies because you feel like you haven't lived enough? Or are you just going to move on about your business the way that you should have? Rather than helping people, you destroy them. There's another verse that says, I believe this is in Mark. I think I read this chapter. Yeah, I read it not too long ago. It was saying whatever that you keep in your heart, if it's in heaven, it would, wherever that you keep your heart's desire, or your desire at, right? That's where your heart is going to be at. Wherever you keep your desires in life at, that's where your heart is going to be at. So if your heart is about our Father things, that's where, in life it will show. If your heart is about, your desires is about frivolous things, when it crumble, you will crumble. You will fall as it falls. Just like Babylon. Let's go to verses 4 through 10. And the subject for this says, don't be fooled when desperation will seem to be your only way out in the modern time. Don't be fooled when it's going to seem like desperation is the only way. And what does it say? He said to them, don't let none fool you, for many shall come in my name and claim that they are Christ and show you wonders. Know that rumors of war will be ignited and it'll be displayed all over many nations. But I tell you, do not be afraid, for it is meant to happen. For nations will be against each other, famine, pestilence, earthquakes in the depths of the surface shall be seen all over earth. There also will be death and sorrow as the heathens will persecute you and seek death upon you, and you'll be hated among many for my name's sake. Just know that many heathens at that time will be offended by the truth, and they will be betray each other and hate one another. Mm. So yeah, so people are going to be betraying each other. Not only they're going to be betraying each other, it's because of the false doctrines, prophecies. People saying that no, no. Well, I'm not even going to say no disrespect, because at the end of the day, logic is logic. You can't unlogic that logic. Trans women cannot be biological women. Maybe as the word, as a pronoun, but that's still idealistic. Were they born with the feminine features? No, completely not. The things that I hear on TikTok is outrageous, and people fight over that. Like, really, they get upset about that. Like, how can you be upset at the fact that you cannot reproduce the same way that a woman does, a female? Because that's the word that they use, female. The doctrine out here is just live your truth, but not don't live in truth. Live your truth, your opinion. Live in your opinion, your ego. Stupidity. Live in stupidity. So if you're stupid, be stupid. What? What sense does that make? I remember when I look at the sky, I don't just partake in one portion of the sky. I look at the whole sky and I call the whole sky what? Blue, right? And I'm saying it's not one part of the sky that's blue, but it's the whole sky. Right? Like I say, I love people, but we gotta be realistic here when it comes to speaking to people that are not stupid, that are not just gonna look at you and be like, "Hey, yes, yes, yes." I think that's how they say, "Yes." Yeah, like, bro, like, no. If you want to call pronoun, call your pronouns. That's perfectly. I'm not gonna go against you, whatever the case is. You ask me, I'm just gonna say it's not. It's not what it should be. Naturally, it's not. You can't ask me a question about what's natural when you know what natural means, just because you want a derivative meaning so you can add your narrative as to what you want it to be. Doesn't work that way. Sorry. No disrespect, right? Because we're here not to hurt anybody's feelings. So if anybody here was to be considered any type of rainbow, hey, I love you here. I really do. But understand that you cannot consider yourself, Christ-like, and you're still doing that weird that stuff that you do. I was gonna say the weird stuff, but you know, just not to inflict whatever the pain and the wound is already. I don't want to do that. But respectfully speaking, that's what that is. You just can't. That's contradicting. And I would not accept that type of, delusion around here. I will not. It's either you accept and say, hey, yes, you're speaking a lot of stupidity. I'll be okay with that. But I would not accept you saying that you're a Christian. Is either you'd be better off saying that you're not, because that would be considered blasphemy. It doesn't matter if you look at it in the New Testament, the Old Testament, it would still be considered blasphemy, regardless. You can't speak 80% of the truth, then it's not considered the truth. If it's not 100% and you're just picking nitpicking what you want, it's not considered the truth. Not one bit. Realistically speaking, none of this extra stuff that goes on around of supporting things that we all know that does not make sense. No, realistically speaking, that's just what that means. Okay? Like I said, no hate here, but we gotta be understanding of what we're doing, what we're saying. Let alone there are a lot of kids and a lot of little ones out here that don't know any better. You cannot tell me that a kid knows their gender, as far as sexuality, because they have influences that they don't even know themselves. You could have went to school. So if you went to college and you learned all of these things, why are you telling people otherwise rather than telling them exactly what you learned? But let's get to verse 11 because I don't want to hold you guys up for too long. All right, verse 11. And the subject for that says, lies of the zombies, spirituality, my apologies. English, French maybe might be better. But know that many false prophets, or let me just say this, this is what it says. Know that many false prophets will deceive many, and because of many people's desire for truth, sin will corrode all over, and love will disappear. So those that endure unto the very end will be saved. So a lot of people that are not falling for this nonsense, right? And I'm not just talking about the rainbow stuff that I was just talking about, but just in general about all of this. You gotta have money, you gotta be this, all the look, work if that's what you're called to do, right? Do what you need to do, right? What you're called to do for the kingdom of our Father. But don't be out here partaking in their trends. You will get caught up in that. You will get lost in it, and it will wash you with whatever that you like, whatever that their punishment will be. You will be a part of that as well. And I'm not here to say that be fearful. We're not given the spirit of fear. But this is definitely a reminder that it's not a joke out here. It for sure is not. All right, let's go to verse 14. What does it say? The subject, it says what? The condition for order even among temptation. And it says what? The truth will be ministered unto many until all will know the truth, for the end to then come. And this is what I was saying about translation. There are many conditions. So the truth is already known. It doesn't have to be 100% known. If you know the name, if you know exactly what the name is for and what it stands for in the real truth, that's the condition right there. But there are other things that will take place before the end of the world is at hand. Now, do I want to know what the real script says? Yes, I will really love to, right? I'm pretty sure a lot of people would if they can read it, right? If they can read it. But it's not even just that. It's just the fact that there's a lot of lies going on right now. Everything has to be first revealed before anything moves forward. So there's a lot of exposure going on right now. So when things are going to then get fulfilled to a certain extent, we're going to start seeing progression It might get really bad after that. But still, because at the moment, the shaft is going to be what is going to be what removed from the wolves and the sheep. So we're going to be removed, and we're going to be seen in a different aspect, like the previous verse. You will be hated, you will be inflicted for his name's sake. And I'm not talking about verses 11. You will be hated for his name's sake. All right, but let's continue. It says what in verse 14? The truth will be ministered unto many, unto all. Unto what? Unto all will know the truth, for the end to then come. So when you'll see the desolation and abomination spoken by the prophet Daniel, and the abomination, right? Spoken by the prophet Daniel, my apologies, that'll mean you must you must take cover. You must prepare yourself. You must keep yourself in the hands of your creator. You must be connected with your creator at all times. You might not know what you're doing fully. Just make sure to continue praying. Make sure to continue being faithful. That moral compass is going to help you a lot in the decisions that you make, because a lot of times, moral compass, right, when it comes to actual real love, when it comes to real compassion, right, it doesn't come from yourself alone. It's an influence. Okay, it's an emotion, it's an influence, so it comes from a lot of good. So when you're truthful, the influence of love and compassion is in you. When you are literally faithful and loyal to who you worship, yes, and you're in acceptance of exactly this path that you choose, you will be saved, while people are still going to be going through a lot of problems, and it's not going to be okay. It never will be. And mind you, the word abomination. Remember, all of this chimera stuff, all of this vaccination stuff, these are going to take part. This is going to be very important. All of this micro nano chipping people in their bodies, all of this stuff is going to be very important. For the mark of the beast is not what you expect it to be. You think it's going to be a tattoo, a barcode, like they showed in the early 1900s. No. Alchemy is when you know science and engineering, not just not chemical engineering alone, but actual science engineering, and also you can say computer tech, whatever engineering, right? In some aspect, even whatever the case is, right? Because I don't want to get too far into that subject. You realize that there are things that are smaller than the speck of a grain of rice that can live in your body. You wouldn't even know it's in there. It's just floating. I'm not sure if it's I believe it was, no, I don't think it was The Simpsons. I think it was Futurama, where they had if it was not Futurama, then it was Rick and Morty. It was some type of cartoon show that showed how yeah, I think it was Futurama, where they showed how there was this little entity, right, of influence that were nanotech made, and they were spread in the sewers in our water, and people were drinking it. They didn't even know that they were, consuming all of these technological, obstructory, is that how you say it? No, I'm just going to use a different word. Scrutinies or problems, just in general, like a whole bunch of dumb, crazy, extreme, invasive. Okay, that's the probably the best word right there. Invasive monitoring, implications that they're really like forcing at us. And they're not going to tell you that, because why would any governing agency tell you that they're monitoring you from inside out? They got solar things that can not going to say certain names, but that can x-ray you from through your ceiling, knowing exactly where your heart is on this displayed, where your mind is at, where your body is at. They can see your bone, they can see your everything about you. They can tap into your devices, your cameras, your microphones, your screen, all of that. So I want people to be to be more aware of what they think is going on than what actually really is going on. It's not a joke out here. You got to get a debuffer that's going to actually buff out their signals. There are things that they can even shoot. They can shoot psionic waves at you. You wouldn't even know. They got Wi-Fi. They got Uh, they got signals that can read, chemical reactions of what your brain can be affected to. So what you watch, if it gives a certain type of reaction of, happiness, sadness, joy, whatever, anger, bitterness, whatever, right? There's a chemical reaction and they're able to read off of that. That's called mind reading regardless, no matter how you look at it. And they use that for game testing as well. So imagine that people are using that for game testing and they're using that on you. Imagine the amount of radiation. Why else why else would there be a 5G tower? Signals, like we have radios. We can send There are radios that can send, signals from ranges that are really far. But no, all of this is radioactive, killing your cells, and you don't even know it. You don't. People been talking about the 5G, but they don't really know how really bad it is. They really don't. They really don't. It's way more than radioactive. It's quicker. Like honestly, we don't even need the 5G. Well, they don't need the 5G because they got tunnels under the water, passing information underwater that you wouldn't even be able to dive in to get there because you got to really go down there without you got to have right technological, situations to even get through that because it's really deep underwater. You're not going to be able to hold your breath that long, and there's not enough tanks for you to go that far down because first your body's going to deflate to a certain extent depending on where you go at. I'm not going to list no names because it doesn't need to be in this video, but if somebody asks, I will let them know. I don't play about that. This channel here is not about a debate about anything. We don't play those type of games around here at all. Not one bit. And they know this. But they've been trying to play with me for a little while now. But I guess let's continue reading the word. What does it say? It says, after take cover, the next sentence says, stand on a high mountain like those that were in Judea. For those for those there already, do not come back down to the surface to gaining nothing of this world ever again, even if you have land. So leave all your old possessions as your old possessions, because that's going to be your downfall if you don't. And now let's talk about inspiration. All right. And this is going to be verse 14, right? It says the condition, as far as the subject, it says the condition for order even among temptation. And what is it? The truth will be ministered unto many until all will know the truth for the end to then come. So when you see the desolation and abomination, I think I already read this, right? I already did. My apologies. Let's go to verse 19. Actually, my apologies. We will be tempted, the subject for that would be, we will be tempted to lower our shield and forsaken our integrity. And it says what? Know that this is a warning unto those that have children. Don't be fooled and be discovered. Just pray that your escape and your vehicle of transport are not slow and that they come on time. So for those at that time, many great tribulations will take place over the world, worse than any other ever seen before. Time will be irrelevant, for there will be none that will be saved except those few that were chosen. So if you choose Christ, move forward. Don't move backwards. Because once you get on that mountain and you start to come back down, the enemy gonna see. They're gonna be like, oh, he not protected, she not protected. Let me attack. Let me bring them back down here even further more. One, two, three, four. Instead of running up, you run back down. It's like saying that you see a Chucky in your house, right? And you're like, hey, I'm gonna still sleep here and possibly not get murdered, okay? Instead of you taking on and just leaving the house alone and just being like, hey, keep the house. I'm just saying, okay? Might not be the best example, but an example is still an example that can make some type of sense as somewhat as people as to what people need to understand, right? So all of this, what is the moral of today's story? Stop going back. Stop following trends. Stop being a people pleaser for the simple fact that other people, right, they will not accept Christ. It's not that they hate you. They don't love Christ. Those demons, they already accepted those demons. Now, as far as a battle, we can only inspire, right? We can share testimony and be an example unto people, but we cannot convert anyone. It's not in our power to do so. It's not. It's not in our power to do so. It's not. Now, if you're sent to do it, that's different. That means you were given authority for that specific situation. We all have authority and power, but there's certain things that is just not meant for us that we have to deliberately do, individually. Just saying. Okay? What else? For a lot of the people out here that think that we hate you, if it's not all Christians, if they don't really know any better, and my apologies for anyone out here that is atheists or non-believers in any way. If I don't know, I don't remember the other ones. I don't really care too much. But if you're not a believer, my apologies for any of our brethren and sisters that have scared you away. We're here to learn. We're here to move forward. We're not here to be holding back on all of this extra nonsense. This is what is killing the people, not having the brain cells to understand that you cannot divide amongst the only thing that you're calling to bring people together. You can't. So my apologies on the behalf. And as for those that have left, my apologies as well for your behalf, because at the end of the day, our people also are lost. It's not everyone, but a lot of our people are also lost. So I pray that Christ comes to your aid, that he saves you, that he carries you in somewhat of knowledge. If you choose not, I am sorry that you chose your path. I'm happy that you are still alive by the grace of our Creator, by the grace of Yahushua Yahusha, in Him, our Yahuwah, our Elohim, our Adonai. I'm happy that you're still alive, that you're functioning, that you are just the person that you can be, right? I look at you with a lot of potential, just like the potential that our Creator look at us with. That's what love is. Looking at people in their higher self and not their lower self. So I pray that you are your better self. If it be not in Christ, I'm still going to pray for your better self. So thank you for your time. Thank you for joining. And to you and all of you, um, brothers and sisters, please let us do better, okay? And if somebody did not tell you they love you today, you already know what I'm going to say. Bars. That's not what I was going to say though, but I said that part anyways. But if somebody didn't tell you they love you today, or they say they don't want my kiss. Who told you you can't? Who told you to not take my kiss? Who told you? Who told you to not take my kiss? Hmm. Do we have a problem here? Do we have a problem here? No. Okay, accept my kiss. I'm gonna give you guys another one. Love you all so much. All right. I know I play around too much, but please join me again. If you will have any questions, comment, put in the comment sections. Any answers, put in the comment sections. I would love to hear you guys' stories, believers or no believers, just so that we have a common ground on something. So this is not just a march of not understanding, but more so the aspect of us learning together. We have to not go to hell. I preferably would not want people to go to hell. And even if you don't believe, I still want you to comment. I still want to hear your story as to why you don't believe. Okay? Love you all so much. Take care. All right?